Welcome to Sports Guy Talking. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am here today to talk about Matt Ryan getting benched again for the Indianapolis Colts. This time, though, the Colts are benching Matt Ryan for Nick Foles. At 4-9-1, the Colts are basically dead in the water when it comes to contending for the NFL playoffs this season. Before I say anything else, though, I want to present you guys with the topic question. So, here it is. What is your reaction to Matt Ryan getting benched again for the Colts? Alright, so my reaction, my thoughts on Matt Ryan getting benched is this is about time that the Colts have benched Matt Ryan. I can't believe that they even thought about putting Matt Ryan back in the starting lineup, and I can't believe that they are benching him for Nick Foles. They should be going to Sam Ehlinger. I mean, what's the point of playing Nick Foles now if you're the Indianapolis Colts? I mean, your season's effectively over. Nick Foles is 33 years old. He doesn't really have a future with the Colts. So I don't even really understand what's the point of even playing Nick Foles if you're the Colts at this point in the season. The time to play Nick Foles, if you wanted to play him, was earlier in the year, back when the Colts were still in contention for the NFL playoffs, because at least Nick Foles has proven he can catch some fire and get on a run. At this point, what's the point for the Colts to have Nick Foles go 2-1 or 3-0 as a starter, because all he just does is worsen their draft position, and they're not even going to be contending for the NFL playoffs anyway. They're not even going to be retaining this coaching staff anyway. I mean, unless the Indianapolis Colts are actually serious about hiring Jeff Saturday as their full-time head coach, which no one in their right mind would do. But then again, no one in their right mind would hire Jeff Saturday as an interim head coach for the Indianapolis Colts. I mean, this is why Jim Irsay, he's been a dysfunctional owner in recent memory. I mean, running Carson Wentz out of town. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with him about getting rid of Carson Wentz. I've never been big on Carson Wentz, but it's just the way they did about it. He 100% laid the blame on him, when honestly, it was kind of more of the coaching staff and the defense's fault for why Carson Wentz didn't show up against the Jaguars. And besides, whose fault was that they traded for Carson Wentz? It was his fault, because he was the one that basically signed off the move to give up a first-round pick in return for Carson Wentz. So that's actually his fault with that too. But the way that he laid the blame at him, they didn't do him right. I think his solution was to go ahead and trade for Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's a 37-year-old quarterback. He hasn't made the playoffs the last 4 years prior to this year. And although I did thought that Matt Ryan would experience a rebirth on the Colts, I thought that would mostly because Jonathan Taylor and the defense would mostly show up for the Colts and Matt Ryan could win some low-scoring games. But obviously, that has definitely not been the case. I also thought that good coaching would definitely cover up the flaws of Matt Ryan, but not even Frank Reich could save Matt Ryan. I mean, Frank Reich's a good coach. He honestly got scapegoated by the Indianapolis Colts. And you think about how Matt Ryan's been playing this year. I mean, it's been a disastrous year for him. You look at the surface, you think, okay, he's not playing terrible. He's completing 67% of his passes. He's throwing for over 3,000 passing yards. And then once you start diving into some of those numbers, it's like, hey, he's actually having a really awful year, because he's only thrown 14 passing touchdowns. He's thrown 13 interceptions. And he's taken 38 sacks, which is just horrible. I mean, he's doing this in 12 games. He went 4-7-1 as the starter. He hasn't really been effective at all this year. He's lost 5 fumbles, but hear this. He has fumbled the ball 15 times this year. No, I'm not joking. 15 times in 12 games. Matt Ryan has fumbled the ball 15 times in 12 games. I got to repeat that again, because that is crazy. I mean, Matt Ryan losing the football that often on the ground. Yeah, I know that 10 of those fumbles his team ended up recovering, but still, that's a lot of fumbles to be giving up. I mean, that's crazy. I thought Trevor Lawrence fumbled the ball a lot this year for the Jaguars, but Matt Ryan, holy cow, he took it to a whole nother level. I mean, that is something for Matt Ryan. And then you think about the declining arm strength of Matt Ryan. You think about the fact that 45 yards is his longest completion that he's converted this year. To put that into perspective, Sam Ehlinger, who's known for not really having a great arm, has a longer he's made a longer completion than Matt Ryan has. Sam Ehlinger has only played in 2 games. I mean, Matt Ryan has made no explosive play in terms of making 50-plus yard passes. I mean, Matt Ryan's arm looks cooked. He looks washed. I mean, he basically looks terrible this year. So I think that Matt Ryan getting benched, that was absolutely the right call for the Indianapolis Colts. I'm wondering why they didn't keep him on the bench to begin with anyway. I mean, when they benched him when they were 3-3-1, when Frank Reich tried to turn to Sam Ehlinger, he tried to do the right thing. He tried to put mobility in the offense. The owner fired him. He blamed him. He blamed him for the organizational failures to get him an actual quarterback. I mean, his GM, Chris Ballard, they never even bothered trying to draft a quarterback whatsoever. I mean, if that doesn't bother you, I don't know what should. Now, look, Matt Ryan, he's had a great career. Look, he's won NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year. That was back in 2008. He's a four-time Pro Bowler. He's a one-time All-Pro guy. He even won the NFL MVP award in 2016. And Matt Ryan, when you look on the surface, you look at his fourth quarter overtime comebacks, he's got 38 of them. 46 of them were game-winning drives. Matt Ryan, based on the stat sheet for fourth quarter comebacks or whatever you want to say, he's basically clutch. But when you look at the bigger surface for Matt Ryan, what do you see from Matt Ryan? You see that he's a constant choke artist because Matt Ryan has the biggest blown lead in NFC Championship game history. That's 17 points. He was up 17-0 against Colin Kaepernick's 49ers in the 2012 NFC Championship game. He ended up going on to lose that game 28-24. It's the biggest blown lead in NFC Championship history. But wait, it gets even worse for Matt Ryan because he's got the biggest blown lead in Super Bowl history. He was up 25 points. He was up 28-3 against the New England Patriots in Super Bowl 51. He goes on to lose that game 34-28 in overtime. So Matt Ryan, he's got the biggest blown lead in the NFC Championship game. He's got the biggest blown lead in Super Bowl history. But wait, he managed to topple all that off last Saturday by making the biggest blown lead in NFL history happen. Matt Ryan was up 33-0. He was up 33 points against the Minnesota Vikings. It happened Week 15, 2022 NFL season. And what happened? Here I'm losing that game 39-36 in overtime. You got to be kidding me. So Matt Ryan's basically on three of the biggest records when it comes to blown leads. He's got the biggest blown lead in the NFC Championship game. He's got the biggest blown lead in Super Bowl history. And he's got the biggest blown lead in all of NFL history. I mean, Matt Ryan is the king of being a choke artist. You might think on the stats, oh, he's clutch. I mean, he has a lot of comebacks. He has a lot of game-winning drives. And then you look, oh, yeah, he's got all those blown leads. I mean, how do you blow that many leads? I know some people are saying it's not his fault. And I like Matt Ryan. I respect him. I think that he was a very good quarterback in this era. But if you keep blowing leads, at some point, there's a common denominator. And that common denominator is you. They took him out of the Atlanta Falcons thinking they could change Matt Ryan. You can take Matt Ryan out of Atlanta, but you can't take the Atlanta out of Matt Ryan. And this guy, he just keeps finding ways to blow leads. I mean, look, Matt Ryan, you need to retire. You had a pretty good run in the NFL. You're not a Hall of Famer, but you had a pretty good run in the NFL. But you need to retire now because you're just embarrassing yourself at this point. I mean, if I was Jeff Saturday, I would just make Matt Ryan the third string. I tell him, don't even come to the games. Just stay home. Just stay home because at this point, you're washed and you don't really provide anything useful. You hold on to the ball too long. You can't throw deep. You let yourself get sacked too easily, and you can't even hold on to the ball. It's not even like you're protecting the football, and you can't even make any plays. Right now, Matt Ryan literally offers nothing. He needs to retire and become a coach or something like that, or become an analyst, because Matt Ryan, as a quarterback right now, he's not cutting it. He looks really washed, and he just looks god-awful watching him play right now. But as for the Colts, though, you should be playing for the future, though. You shouldn't be playing for right now. So playing Nick Foles over Sam Ehlinger now, that doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, Nick Foles, look, he's already on the wrong side of 30. He hasn't made a Pro Bowl since 2013. He hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2017. Granted, it's hard to win Super Bowls, but still, I know Nick Foles is capable of going on playoff runs, and I know that he looks amazing as a backup, but terrible as a starter. But your season's effectively over. Even if Nick Foles goes on a hot streak, what's that going to do for you? You're not going to win the division. You're not going to make the playoffs. All that does is worsen your draft position. You need to figure out what the future is. I'm not saying for you to tank, but you need to figure out what the future quarterback room is in you, because Nick Foles is not the future for the Indianapolis Colts. You need to be seeing what you have in Sam Ehlinger. I mean, I'm not saying Sam Ehlinger is going to become some superstar franchise quarterback, but he might be something. He might be a bridge quarterback to their next franchise quarterback. I mean, Sam Ehlinger, he's a sixth rounder, pick 218. He's 24 years old. I mean, he's shown potential. I mean, I know that he had an awful game against the New England Patriots, but in his first start against the Commanders, he wasn't too bad. He showed that he was capable of being a decent backup, maybe even a starter-level worthy player if you put good coaching around him. I know that he takes a lot of sacks, but shoot, the Colts O-line is pretty bad, and Sam Ehlinger, he can move around the pocket a little bit. Nick Foles is a freaking statue, and playing Nick Foles over Sam Ehlinger at this point when the season is already over, when you're already basically eliminated, it basically makes no sense at this point. I mean, the Indianapolis Colts just befuddled me. I don't really understand what they're trying to do, and to see Matt Ryan getting benched benched again for a second time, this time for a different quarterback, that's just embarrassing for Matt Ryan. At this point, Matt Ryan, he just needs to retire and say, you know what, hang up the cleats and say, you know what, I had a good run in the NFL, but it's time for me to leave. So that's my perspective on Matt Ryan, and that is why Matt Ryan getting benched again for the Colts is definitely the right call. However, I do not agree with the Colts going to Nick Foles, as I believe that they should go back to Sam Ehlinger as their starting quarterback moving forward. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @SportsGuyTalking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video, comment down below, check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel, Sports Guy Talking.